Candy? No, I'm sorry. That's what I had for supper last night.
Mm. Mhm. Okay, everybody. I'm sorry for the scare. Ms. Chadwick, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Mr. Andreas, you appear to be muted right now. There you are. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
My worst nightmare, computer failure. And I was had the meeting set up and was live streaming on YouTube by 10 minutes till 9. And this may be useful to you all at some point. So I'll share my micro technology with you. I plugged in my headphones so that I could hear better, and maybe you could hear me better. The moment I plugged that into the side of the laptop computer, screen went black. So I rebooted and rebooted again, and here we are. My worst nightmare.
I've had computer problems. The internet went out, and that never happens where I am. So I guess it's just the day, Judge.
Makes me want to go out and buy a backup laptop computer with the webcam built in, just in case this one decides to crash someday in the middle of something important. So we are here for a temporary orders hearing. I want to ask all of you if you have any time constraints that will have an impact on your ability to participate in this hearing today. That goes for lawyers as well as witnesses. I'm trying to do a little triage to figure out how much time we've got available, because I've got a midday event I would like to go to if I could, but your business comes before my midday meeting. And
Judge,
Yeah,
I
answer your
tend to allot as much time as it takes to get it done.
to answer your question. Both Mr. Andreas and I have a 2 o'clock same hearing on Zoom. Not same hearing, but together in another case on Zoom at 2 today.
that is correct.
Okay. Well, in that event, I will stay with you and see if we can get all the evidence in. I'm going to have to make sure each side gets an equal opportunity to present their case, as you can imagine. Let me share with both of you a time-saving technique I tried to institute back when I was doing this every day. I offered to attorneys in cases like this, which were not going to go up on appeal by the nature of the hearing, the opportunity to put on evidence by way of, quote, stipulation. Scary word for lawyers, I know, but here's what I mean by that. A great deal of time can be saved if a lawyer proffers, which may be a better word, what his witness would say if called to the stand to testify live. His name is so-and-so, he's so many years old, he lives at such and such address, he's the petitioner in the case, respondent. He would testify that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 facts. And then opposing lawyers offer the opportunity to say, are you willing to stipulate that if proffered live, the witness would testify to substantially those facts, yes or no? Yes, but we don't agree that those are true, Judge. Yes, I understand. And then the lawyer puts the witness on the stand finally under oath and says, did you hear all those things I itemized for the judge? Yes, I did. Anything about that you want to correct? Well, yeah, there's this, so on, so on, so on. Otherwise, yes. That cuts the time in about a half or better. And then the opposing side, of course, gets a chance to take the witness on cross and do all the detail work he wants to do. If that doesn't appeal to either of you, you can do it the good old-fashioned way by Q&A. Thoughts, questions?
Judge, I think that's would be in a lot of cases, a incredible way of doing it. I think that this case is so contentious and there are such issues with regard to the respondent being in the sex industry, judge, neglecting and abusing her children, using drugs, being fraudulent in her.
I think saying it was contentious would be enough without trying to go into making an argument.
Well, I still can have an oral argument, can I not, Judge?
This is not opening statements, Ms. Shadwick.
I got the picture. It doesn't sound like it will work. At least you don't think it will. So I won't try to ram it down your throats. Okay, here's another thought. How long do you expect your 2 o'clock will take? Would there be some time left for us to resume this hearing after that?
Judge, the Judge Kitchens has generally, and maybe Mr. Andrews has an idea of what today's docket is like, and whether or not Judge Kitchens has numerous cases set. We've been sent a Zoom link that says 7 o'clock. My suspicions is if we worked with Judge Kitchens' court, we would be able to get more of a time certain.
Well, of course, you are involved in this hearing. What if I just told you you had to stay with me until we get it done? What's going to happen in the other court? They're going to pass your case or what?
Yes, sir. It'll get reset.
It'll get reset, Judge, and my client in that case will be at a disadvantage, but you know, things happen.
So when will you know more from Judge Kitchen's court?
I can have my staff start making an inquiry right now if Your Honor would like.
Yeah, whether we could start at 3 o'clock or 3:30 in Judge Kitchen's court. And that would accommodate everybody.
Will you just call Ashley and get an idea as to what the docket looks like and how flexible their afternoon is going to be?
So Reiner can be moved down a little bit?
Yeah, if it can move down and just, even if they're going to get to it. I mean, I think Landon would agree with me that sometimes we show up in Judge Kitchen's court and we sit around and it becomes 6 o'clock and we're still 3 cases away. So Judge, my staff is going to at least start trying to get an idea. And if as she gets information, I'll inform everybody if that's a fair way of doing it. Just let you know what I'm learning.
Another alternative is to use all the available time we have today. And if we don't reach a conclusion of the evidence, then resume another day, including tomorrow as a possibility for me. I don't know about the two of you.
Judge, I would not be available tomorrow or Friday.
Well, there goes that.
Judge, I tend to rock and roll, and so does Mr. Andrews.
I could do Monday morning.
Judge, if I can interrupt, on the afternoon docket for Judge Kitchens, I do know that it shouldn't take very long to get to their case. I don't know how long their case will be because a couple of cases have already passed for the afternoon docket.
I have Monday morning available also for the 7th. I had a trial, but it's gone away.
And Judge, I only have 2 witnesses today. And with regard to my schedule on Monday, let me see. I have 11 o'clock prove up for, no, I don't. Judge, I'm open Monday.
Rock and roll.
So if that works for everyone.
You can do that. You know, if we get to it. Who is? Shelley's on Reiner? But Shelley's trying to move it. Judge, I'm getting some information in. It looks as though there is another attorney on the afternoon docket in the 258th District Court that's also trying to move a case later into the afternoon. So perhaps, and this is, I mean, based on the information I have at this time, maybe the best would be to start this, move through until lunch, and then come back on Monday if it's necessary. Is that fair? I mean, maybe that takes into account everything that we know so far, maybe.
And I'm also open all day Monday, it looks like from my schedule.
Bear with me a second. Yeah, I could resume on Monday as well.
This is just me throwing an idea out. I'm not the hugest fan in the world of piecemealing cases, but in this new world, it happens every week. And this is just me floating an idea. But if Monday is fully available from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and we're talking a few days away, would you prefer to hear the entire case on Monday and set aside a full day?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to do what we can here.
Yes, sir.
I take full notes and it won't be lost on me. You know, anything could happen. Somebody could get sick, be in the
Yes, sir.
hospital,
Sure.
internet go down, what have you. So you need to strike while the iron is hot.
Judge, and my client has not been able to see his children. She's kept him from the children.
It's okay. I've already told you that we're going to press on. What if we said we're going to use the time period 9:15 to 1:15, and I would allocate that time equally between the two of you. And if you didn't finish putting on all of your case today, then we would do the same thing on Monday. And I would let you share the time, even if you did. For example, if we started today and 2 hours into this, Ms. Shadwick still hadn't finished. Well, I'm going to have to keep time on both of you. Well, in any event, you understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to keep a column of time that you use, and I'm not going to charge breaks against you if we have any breaks. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'll do. I'll try to keep time. Ms. Curry, I'd love to have you tasked with that, but you've got other things to be doing. And thank you, by the way, for the help you've given to us, to me, up to this point. You've been very good. I always marvel about district clerks reading all those papers we throw at them and finding things buried in there that we haven't found. So good on you. Let me give y'all just a little bit of background about me so you'll know. I was appointed to a district court bench over here in Brazos County in 1984. And I served until the time I was eligible to retire. And since then, I've been a visiting judge and mediator and arbitrator, and I still do that through today. I sat yesterday in Bastrop County in a contentious estate case. I've got cases in about 6 counties now at the moment. You may be interested to know that I've got a fair amount of experience in what would be called child-related cases. I've spent the last 10 years on a special assignment as the judge of the Child Protection Court here in Brazos County. And then the last year of that period, I had 2 other counties. So I spent a great deal of time handling CPS cases. Okay, with that, I see that we have the petitioner on the screen, and I think we have a respondent seated there next to you, Mr. Andreas. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Now, do we have any other witnesses present?
I have 2 other witnesses that are in the front of my office. If we get to them, we can call them as needed. I don't know that we'll get there today, but that's what we have on the counter petitioner side.
And Judge, I have Mr. Dwayne Wright, the paternal grandfather, also here.
Who's going to be your first witness?
Cameron Wright, Judge.
And I would
Mr. Wright,
invoke the rule, Judge.
very well. What do you say to that, Ms. Shadwick? Any exceptions apply here?
No, Judge.
All right. Cameron Wright, raise your right hand, be sworn. You swear the testimony you'll give in this case will be the whole truth, so help you God. Can you hear me? He's connecting to audio. All right, while we're working on that,
Okay.
all right, can you hear me,
All right,
Mr.
I think
Wright?
I got it.
All right, Cameron Wright, did you hear me administer the oath to you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you accept the oath?
Judge, I believe there's some
Yes.
feedback because there might be another computer on in the room. And then also if Mr. Dwayne Wright is in the room, he needs to leave because the rule's been invoked, Judge.
I got that. I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
You'll be patient with me.
I just wanted to make sure that you didn't think I knew that and it was okay for them to be in the same room.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we have people on 2 devices in the same room? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Dwayne Wright, I need you to come online, please. I want to see your face and hear you. Okay. Are you Mr. Dwayne Wright?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, I need you to raise your right hand, be sworn as a witness, please. You swear the testimony you'll give will be the whole truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, so in this case, a rule of procedure has been instituted, very commonly done in cases like this. And it requires people who are not presently testifying to remain, as we say, out in the hallway and not in the seeing or hearing of the testimony that's going on. The purpose of this is to make sure that witnesses don't shape their testimony to match or conflict in some way with what's been said before. So we're going to have to get you outside of the physical location of Cameron Wright. And I'm going to have to put you in what we call a breakout room or waiting room in this hearing so that you can't access it via the internet.
Right. We're having difficulty with computers, so I'll go in my vehicle with my phone, my other phone, and leave if that works.
All right, so I'm going to move you off of out of this hearing, the virtual movement out of the hearing, but you have to physically be away from where Cameron Wright is giving his testimony. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll grab another phone and go into the vehicle.
Very well.
Okay, thank you. Here. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Cameron Wright, can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir, I can.
Very well. I think we're ready now, Ms. Shadwick, whenever you
All
are.
right. Brief opening, please, sir.
Of course.
Yes, my name is Lana Shadwick and I represent the father in this case, Cameron Lee Wright. I have filed a first amended proposed disposition of issues, Judge. I got your form later in the day. It's a beautiful form. We're going to use it forever and ever. I'm in, but we did not get it completed by this morning, Judge. We are asking that my client be named sole managing conservator and be primary, that the school district be tied to petitioner father's primary residence where he lives with the paternal grandparents. Judge, we were set for hearing on January 6th. My client filed for divorce late December. Opposing counsel filed a motion to recuse the judge on the basis that the paternal grandparents are the county clerk and the county GOP chairman, and the judge recused himself. So there's been a delay of at least more than a month, Judge, where my client has not seen his children. And the opposing party is in Bastrop or something, which is quite a ways from San Jacinto County. Judge, we're asking that respondent be enjoined from removing the children beyond San Jacinto County, and that she either be denied possession of the children or that the visitation be continuously supervised, and that the exchange of any possession occur in a setting like a sheriff's department or that sort of thing, that there be no consumption of alcohol or controlled substances 24 hours for the period of possession, and that respondent be ordered to take a hair follicle drug test, Judge. I do believe that one of the reasons for the delay has been so a UA would be more clean And also, Judge, we ask that she be ordered to complete a parent education and family stabilization course, that the parties, I don't have this on my proposed issues, but the parties use some kind of family app to communicate. So it can be available to counsel and the court. Judge, with regard to property, they are, the father of the child is living on the premises with, has a separate house across from the paternal grandparents' home where respondent and petitioner and the children were living prior to respondent taking the children to her parents' house. We ask that my client petitioner be able to have exclusive use and control of his vehicle, that the standard injunctions apply, Judge, and that in addition to that, that there be a permanent injunction enjoining the children from the presence of someone named John Davis. And then also Judge Matthew Hatfield. Judge, the evidence is going to show that respondent has mental health issues. We've got a picture of her with a knife in front of a mirror, and she's getting it heated with a cigarette lighter. She's done drugs. She's engaged in prostitution and the sex industry. She's committed adultery, had numerous affairs. She's very sexually active, Judge. She's been discharged from her jobs like banks and a auto dealership for dishonesty. She's hacked into the paternal grandparents' bank accounts, and she's also gotten into other people's accounts. She's endangered and neglected the children. And we would ask, Judge, that she have supervised visitation.
That conclude your opening.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Andreas, now or later?
I think I'll try now, Judge.
Go ahead.
Judge, what we've got here is two young parents who have never honestly seen eye to eye on anything. But I'm going to have to say that about 90% of what Ms. Shadwick said in relation to my client is simply not true, and there's no evidence of any of it. Basically, what has happened here is my client felt trapped in this home for some time to an alcoholic, abusive husband. And on December 10th, he essentially told her, "I will kill you before you ever leave." And on December 12th, she had a window and she left. She moved in with her parents in the Schulenburg area, where her and the husband have lived before together. So to act like this is a brand new place that Ms. Shadwick or her client doesn't know where it is or couldn't remember where it is, they've lived there. Okay. What the evidence will show is a history of alcoholism on behalf of Mr. Wright. It will show a history of behavior towards my client that can only be described as hateful. You will see a series of communications between the parties where she is talked to like anything other than a human. And when all of that is said and done, you will see that she has been the one to take on the primary role of caring for these children from day one, that there has never been an ounce of neglect, that she has never hurt these children or been a part of hurting these children. You will find, however, that Mr. Wright has also, or I'm not going to say also, because I don't think there's any evidence that my client has committed adultery, but there's absolute evidence that Mr. Wright has. And you will see that Furthermore, I love the argument that continues to come up in both this hearing and the last time we were in court, as though Mr. Wright has not had the opportunity to see his children since he left. You'll see a video today, a recorded phone call, where Mr. Wright and Miss Wright, my client, where she says, come by and see the children. And he basically, in a kind of sinister tone, says, I don't think that's a good idea. And at a later date, you'll find out why. At the end of the day, what these people need is they both need parenting classes. They both need classes to learn how to communicate and co-parent. The primary parent needs to be the mother, given that she's been that since birth of these two children. An SPO needs to be put in place. There needs to be injunctions for alcohol use, and 9 times out of 10, I've never seen those injunctions to be one-sided, so we're okay with it being a mutual injunction. But alcohol is definitely a factor here as it pertains to Mr. Wright, and the evidence will show that. This should have happened a long time ago. The evidence is going to show that, but in no way, form, or fashion has this woman ever been a threat or harm to her children. She has raised these children. She has worked to provide for this family. Since having the children solely in her possession, she progresses with their online schooling that was very, very behind. But at the end of the day, I don't think there is going to be a question as to what is in the best interest of those children. And what we're going to ask for, again, is that they be named joint managing conservators, that my client have the right to determine the residency of the child. My understanding is the father is on his way to be working out of town, or at least there's some evidence to that. So we will work a visitation schedule out that's going to work with his rig operations, and let these people start turning the page into a new chapter of what a new normal is going to be. But I think that's where we are, Judge, and we're ready.
Okay, so that you are all aware, we're of course making the recording via the Zoom apparatus. We're also live streaming on a YouTube channel in accordance with Supreme Court rules, and it's accessible, I think, under the name John Delaney, in case anybody needs to know. And for parents' information, the only reason we are live streaming this is because there's a provision in the Texas Constitution that mandates that our courts be open to the public, and somebody in their wisdom thought that we ought to open it to the universe via YouTube instead of the good old-fashioned way, letting people join via Zoom. But it is what it is. I'm required to live stream it on YouTube, and you're welcome to communicate with anybody you want to when time allows, that they can observe the hearing via that YouTube channel that has the name John Delaney in it. All right, we ready to proceed with evidence?
Judge, I would call Ashley Wright, but one thing I want to mention, Judge, is there's some very explicit photos of Miss Wright that are exhibits in petitioner's exhibit, particularly exhibit 8, I believe. And so the court's been provided with those exhibits. Opposing counsel has been provided with those exhibits. So I will not put them on YouTube, Judge, even though if she's going to be out there, they could be. But I just wanted to bring that up.
And Judge, we will obviously object to those being offered as evidence when the time comes. They're absolutely irrelevant, and they were sent to her husband, but we'll get there.
Very well. At the moment, of course, I guess they're email attachments. So they're not necessarily going to be part of the live screened presentation here today, should they be admitted. All right. Ms. Wright, since you've been called as a witness, I'm going to have to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the testimony you'll give will be the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Very well. Okay, let me admonish both of you, Mr. Wright and Ms. Wright. You've just both taken an oath to tell the truth. I want you to be very careful and follow that oath. because I take it seriously. There are criminal penalties that attach if a person commits perjury, which means making a material false statement while under oath. And I know that you are embroiled in an emotional court case here. And there's a natural human tendency to see things through your own lens. But you must be very careful about the factual testimony you provide to me here today. I won't say anything more than that. Your witness, Ms. Shedwick.
Yes, Judge. Miss Wright, isn't it true that you've been working in the sex industry and that's primarily where you've been working?
No.
So you worked at Hooters, correct?
Yes.
And you worked at Gators in North Carolina.
Yes.
And when you worked at Hooters, you were in Humble, Texas, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you've applied at strip clubs, is that correct? Austin, Texas?
Yes.
All right. And the Yellow Rose was one of those strip clubs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your husband didn't want you to do that, correct?
No.
So when you were at Hooters, let's talk about Hooters. And there's the hurricane.
Can we get some time
Yes, sir.
placement? I need a
Yes, sir.
timeline to help me keep
Yes,
this in
sir.
context.
Yes, sir. So when you were at Hooters, what years was that?
2015?
Okay. Just 2015?
Yes.
And Gators in North Carolina.
2016?
And then when you were trying to get hired at the Yellow Rose and other strip clubs, when was that?
2016.
And that was in Austin, correct?
Yes.
And then after that, you worked at a bank, correct?
After that, yes.
And what bank was that? And what was the time frame?
San Jacinto County. The Bank of San Jacinto County.
Okay. And
And
all right, the dates, the years.
probably 2017.
Okay. How did you get that job? Did the Wrights help you get that job?
No.
And then after you worked at the bank for what period of time to what period of time?
I'm not sure.
How many months were you there?
5, 6, 7.
Okay. And then after that, what did you do?
I waitressed.
Okay. Where were you a waitress?
I was a waitress at Gringo's in New Caney.
Okay.
And then I worked for El Burrito in Cleveland.
And what were the time frames on that?
Gringo's, I worked there in 2019 for 11 months. And then I worked at El Burrito in at the end of 2021, beginning of 2021 for 3 months. And then I went to the Martin Chevrolet dealership and I worked there for a year and a month. So I was there from November 2021 to December of I was there from November 6th of 2019 to December of 2021. I'm sorry.
Okay. So when you worked at San Jacinto Bank in 2017, why did you leave?
Why did I leave?
Mhm.
They terminated me.
And why did they terminate you?
Objection calls for speculation as to why somebody did something.
Do you know why you were fired? What did they tell you?
They said that I made 2 copies of a driver's license instead of
you-
1.
Okay, so you were well, isn't it true that you were making driver's license information and taking social security numbers of clients and getting into their personal information at the bank, correct?
No,
So if we brought in the president of the bank or someone at the bank, they're going to testify under oath that you got fired for making 2 copies of a driver's license.
yes,
And that's the only reason you got fired from the bank.
Objection asked and answered 3 times.
Overruled.
And that's the only reason you got fired at the bank.
yes.
And what was wrong with making 2 copies of a driver's license?
What was wrong? They told me that I had made 2. I was only supposed to make 1 because I took one of them home.
Okay, why would you take a copy of a bank customer's or client's driver's license home?
Because back, I guess right before I started working at the bank, Cameron had drove his dad's truck to the headquarters where he is now.
Objection, non-responsive.
Judge, she asked why.
Overruled. You may answer, but try to be succinct with it.
Okay, so a lady wrecked into Cameron's dad's truck and she didn't have a driver's license or insurance, and her cousin is the one that showed up to the scene. And since they couldn't get any information to the insurance company to fix the vehicle, I had taken one of the driver's licenses to Dwayne so he could file it with the insurance company so he can get his truck fixed.
And why were you fired from Martin Chevrolet?
I wasn't fired. I quit.
Okay, so what did you do there at Martin Chevrolet?
I sold vehicles.
Okay, and isn't it true that you were hacking into social security numbers, personal information, driver's license, and that sort of thing?
No,
So if we brought the owner of Martin Chevrolet in here as a witness, he would just say you quit. Is that correct?
yes,
And why did you quit?
because I left Cameron.
So what period of time are you saying that you left? What month and year are you saying you left Martin Chevrolet?
I left on December 14th of 2021.
Okay. So when you were at Hooters, you testified that that was in about 2015, correct?
Yes,
And there was some kind of hurricane at that time. Is that right? Was there, was it Ike or Rita or, what one of them? Was there a hurricane?
I don't know.
Okay. So were you given did you tell Mr. Wright you got a discount at a local motel in Humble because of the hurricane?
I'm going to object to something that took place in 2015 as being relevant. What's it relevant to today?
She's a prostitute.
I overrule. Go on.
So there was a local motel in Humble, and you told Mr. Wright it was necessary to stay in the hotel, correct?
No,
So when you say no, you're saying that you didn't stay in a motel at all. It's just all.
correct.
Okay. So when you were in North Carolina, did you have a customer named Chris?
No,
You didn't have a customer named Chris that was going to give you a free tattoo
no, I don't believe so.
and that he would give you a tattoo for free if you smoked weed with him? Is that correct?
Oh, yes,
Okay. So, and when you were during this time, you had your daughter, Kaylin with you, right?
yes.
Is it Keelan or Caitlin?
Kaylin,
Kaylin. Okay. So you had Kaylin with you. You were able to get a free tattoo because you smoked weed with them, correct?
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is you were in a hotel room, correct?
No.
All right, where were you?
We were at our place of residence in North Carolina.
Okay, so you were, all right. So did you provide any other services or anything else to Chris?
No.
All right. And then you guys moved from North Carolina, correct, to Texas?
Yes.
And is your husband going to say he did that to hope that that would remove temptations from you and that maybe you would settle down?
No.
Why did you move to Texas?
Because our place of residence was with some of my friends and they made us leave.
Okay. And why did they make you leave?
Because they were moving in their nephew.
Okay. And you were in Flatonia at a Carefree Inn, correct?
Yes.
And the police showed up, right?
No.
Police didn't show up and ask you if you were engaging in prostitution.
Yes.
They did show up.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, name of the town?
Flatonia.
Latonia. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir. And so the police showed up. They said you were suspected of engaging in prostitution, and the hotel owners asked you to leave. Is that correct?
No.
So you could stay there even after the police left? Did they leave?
Yes. They said that they had the wrong person. We were on our way to church on Easter Day.
Okay. So you wouldn't be engaging in prostitution on Easter, right?
Never.
Okay. Do you have a history of going through people's hotel rooms?
No.
Okay. So when you supposedly went there to get high, you returned with cash, correct?
No.
All right. When you worked at Gators in North Carolina, isn't it true that you stayed out really, really late? Uh-oh.
Sorry, Judge, we had a power surge or something. The whole thing went dead.
No problem. We've been in silence since you left us. We're ready to resume now.
Okay, so I asked you about getting high in other people's hotel rooms and returning with cash. What was your answer to that?
I've never done that.
And was your daughter ever with you?
No.
Okay. And while you were at Gators in North Carolina, isn't it true you stayed out late, super late, and you would come home with tons of cash? And correct?
I had a job. We closed at 2 a.m.
Okay. And didn't you frequently hang out separately with Chris and other customers?
No.
And how about 2020 and 2021? Didn't you want to open an OnlyFans account where you could make money?
Yes.
All right. And you wanted to sell nude pictures, correct?
No.
So what did you want to do on OnlyFans?
I was going to take pictures of my feet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not understand the name you attached to this account.
It's OnlyFans. OnlyFans. So
Very
what?
well.
Yes, sir. Could you tell the judge what OnlyFans is, the account you wanted to start?
It's where people get on and they sell pictures, and you can sell pictures of anything. You can sell pictures of flowers, anything you can dream of, you can sell pictures.
Okay. So you wanted to, you just testified that you wanted to sell pictures of your feet.
Yes.
Okay. So what other pictures did you want to sell? How about Exhibit 8, Petitioner's 8? Have you seen those?
I have.
All right. So what were those pictures for?
Those pictures were sent directly to my husband because he asked for them.
Would you be very surprised that he said that he found those?
Yeah, on his Snapchat.
Okay. And so you've seen those photos, correct?
Yes, I have.
And you took those photos, correct?
Yes, and he also took some of them.
Okay. But these are taken at the office, correct? At one of your places of employment?
Yes, because he asked for them.
Okay. Where were you at the time?
In the bathroom.
Okay. The bathroom, was it Martin's Chevrolet or was it the bank?
Martin Chevrolet.
Okay. So, and you're saying with regard to the photographs in the bathroom, where were they? I mean, what bathroom was that?
The women's.
Okay. There's a women's bathroom I mean, you're talking about the office.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a unisex bathroom.
Okay. So, but did you testify that there were also pictures or photographs taken somewhere else, the ones that you saw?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where was that?
Cameron was staying at a hotel, and some of them were taken at his hotel room. And then one in the barn.
So, but your testimony is that they were for Cameron and not an OnlyFans account. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so your feet, something special that you could make money off of, correct?
They're not special, but you can make money off of it.
Okay, so is there a special subgroup in OnlyFans for foot fetishes?
Yes.
Okay, and so specifically foot fetishes subgroup of OnlyFans, what did you want to do with that?
I didn't already answer that?
I don't know. I mean, do you just show your feet?
Yes.
Okay, and so you're telling the judge that the photographs that you've identified in Petitioner's Exhibit 8 were taken at a hotel room.
Yes.
And you took the photographs, correct?
And Cameron took some of them.
Okay, Cameron took some of them. What was the time frame on that?
Years,
Okay, so how about the one where you're bending over with a thong? When was that taken?
do you have,
Judge, if we're gonna offer these into evidence while we're sitting here talking about them, then I'm gonna go ahead and object. These are designed for one thing and one thing only, and that is to embarrass her. That these were pictures shared between a wife and a husband over a multi-year marriage. They have zero relevance to this hearing, other than to embarrass her. That's it. That's the only reason they've been proffered at all.
Judge, may I respond?
Of course.
Ms. Wright is a prostitute, engages in prostitution, wants to have an OnlyFans account, and this is a danger to her little girls. It's also not a good example for her little girls. It's not a funny or laughing matter. She testified that she wanted to have an OnlyFans account just to show her feet. Yet these sexually explicit photographs, which she's identified, could be sold on that website. And so they are relevant.
Okay, the objection is going to be overruled.
Okay. So what years were these photographs taken? The one with the it's got a saying on the wall. It's like a wooden it's either a wooden sign or something, and you've got on a thong bent over, and then you
probably
also have on a
2014.
vest. 2014. Okay. How is or have they been changed in any way?
no,
Okay, so they're accurate and true depictions of the photographs that were taken that day, right?
yes,
Okay, and then the photographs in the bathroom, were those at your grandmother's house?
yes,
Okay, so what year was that?
2014.
2014, and it's your testimony that those were for what purpose?
I sent those directly to Cameron.
All right, and so have these photographs been altered or changed in any way?
No,
So they're accurate and true depictions of the photograph that day, those photographs that day.
yes, I just answered that.
Okay, so Judge, I'd move for the admission of petitioner's Exhibit 8 with the photographs.
I'm gonna renew my prior objection, Judge. I think this is incredible that these are being offered to embarrass a mother. They want to argue that these are not good and by a parent who's raising children, yet they're fixing to make them public record and part of a file. These people will never co-parent again. This is absolutely irrelevant.
Okay, the objection is overruled and the exhibit is admitted for purposes of this hearing, and it is not public other than in our files.
Thank you, Judge. And did you ever try to get your husband to agree for you to have a sugar daddy?
It was a joke.
So that's something you tell your husband is, hey, you don't mind if I have a sugar daddy, I can make some extra cash, right? That's
He
funny.
didn't have a job.
You didn't have a job, so you were going to try to help out for family expenses.
No,
So who was the sugar daddy?
there wasn't one.
But you started getting nice gifts, right?
No,
You didn't start bringing home things that you couldn't afford.
like what?
I
Because
don't-
no, I didn't.
Okay. And yeah, but you were Mr. Wright, your husband asked you about these gifts. And you told him that they were from your mother, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And isn't it a fact that you were having an affair at that time?
No,
Who's Caleb?
one of my previous customers.
Okay, so when you say customer, you're talking about buying hamburgers, or what are they buying?
They're buying a car.
Okay, so it was during the Chevrolet, right?
Yes.
Okay. What other gifts have you gotten, or what gifts have you gotten from customers?
None.
You testified that you told him that your mother got got you or gave you those, right?
Yes. You asked if I got gifts. I said yes.
Okay,
And they were from my mother.
all right. So have you had an opportunity to look at the photograph with the knife and you being in the mirror with the cigarette lighter getting it hot? Have you been able to see that? Okay.
Yes.
All right. What is that? What was going on in that photograph?
Well, Cameron took the video. He was there with me. We were making a TikTok on how easily it was to seal a plastic bag. So the knife was flipped upside down on the flat side. We were getting it hot to show how easy it was to seal a bag.
Okay, so how easy it was to steal a bag?
Seal a plastic bag,
Seal.
like
Oh.
a bag of chips, or like if you had snacks or something, you could seal it for the kids if it didn't have a zipper on it.
So this petitioners exhibit 13 and 14. That was April 25th, 2021, correct?
Right.
All right.
Hold on, I don't have 13 and 14, Lana. Mine end at 12.
It's a picture of a knife being heated up with a cigarette lighter. The girls emailed it to you. My girls did.
No, ma'am. I have a single email that I'm looking at. Now I'll go back and try to look, but I have petitioners 1 through 12. I do not have anything past 12.
Okay. Let me see what I can do here, and I can put it on the screen. Hopefully.
And I also have the actual petitioners exhibit list document that lists them out, and it ends at 12 as well.
Right. And we supplemented this morning with maybe not the list, but we sent the exhibits 13 and 14.
Okay.
So let
Who was the sender on that email?
well, it might be Carmen Kyle. It might be Shadwick Law Judge. Maybe Savannah, AtlantaShadwick.com, or maybe Christina. I'm not sure who sent it, Judge.
Do you know what the subject is?
Oh, let's see. I'm so sorry, Judge.
Maybe Wright divorce or Wright?
Maybe so, Judge. Judge, I'll get back to it and I'll share it later on. Let me see. I think I can. But if I could finish with a question. Miss Wright, so you know the incident with the butcher knife, right?
It wasn't a butcher knife. It was a kitchen knife.
Okay, so how long was it?
It was 6.5 inches by 1 inch wide.
All right. And so you were heating it up with a cigarette lighter, correct?
Correct.
And you were in what bathroom? Is that a bathroom?
That was a kitchen.
Okay. So, but you were in front of a mirror, correct? Or no?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So, and it's your testimony that you heated up the butcher knife with a cigarette lighter in order to show on TikTok how to seal a plastic bag. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And this was on April 25th, 2021, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just a second.
Linda, we've run a pretty extensive search. We don't have them.
Okay. I'll share it.
At some point, I saw a picture of a knife.
It's on the filing of the underlying TRO, but it's not listed as an exhibit in anything we have, but it was filed as part of the TRO.
I see. Okay, the photo of that knife is fairly marginal evidence in the big scheme of things.
Okay. So, Miss Wright, it's not because you have a mental health issue, correct? That you would do.
Correct.
All right. Have you ever talked about suicide?
Yes.
Okay. When did you talk about suicide?
A couple months back,
Okay. And what was going on?
I told Cameron that I would rather kill myself than be around him any longer.
Okay. And did you threaten to commit suicide with your father-in-law's rifle?
Yes, to get away from Cameron.
Okay. And you would do that if the girls were around, is that correct?
No.
Have you ever drank alcohol to the point of losing consciousness?
No.
So you're denying ever passing out,
Correct.
and certainly not in the presence of the girls, correct?
Correct.
And you're violent, aren't you?
No, ma'am.
Well, you punched Cameron in the face, correct?
Correct.
All right. And the police were called.
No.
So the police were not called?
They were, but they said that they were going to drop it because CPS was going to get involved. So they let it go.
Okay. So you told this judge that the police weren't called, and then you said
Because there was no record. There was no filing of anything.
okay. So because there was no filing of anything, the police were not called. And
They
that's
were. They
and
were.
that's how you testified, correct? And there's been other instances today too where you say no, that didn't happen, and then you said yes, it happened, correct?
Yes.
And you heard what the judge said earlier about committing perjury and being under oath. Is that correct?
Object as to issuing whether or not she's committed perjury. She has cleaned up every question you've asked her once you have detailed what the question was. If you ask an open-ended question that's not detail oriented, she has cleaned up every one of them. I'm going to object to the use of perjury. Move on.
Okay. What I said was you heard what the judge said with regard to his warning about perjury. So you changed your testimony. And so the police weren't called, but now they were called, correct?
They were called and there was nothing filed.
Okay. And you were holding Kaylin at the time that you punched Cameron in the face. Is that correct?
No.
And John Davis, who is that?
My cousin.
And does he come over to your parents' home often?
No, I don't think I've seen him in 2-3 years.
Okay. And is there any problems with him being around the kids?
No, ma'am.
All right. And how old are your girls?
3 and 7.
Okay. So Kaylin Victoria Wright is how old?
7.
And Aniston Darlin Wright is how old?
3.
Okay. And do you think being in the sex industry is a good example for these little girls?
I'm not in the sex industry.
And John Davis, you testify his cousin. Did he ever touch you inappropriately when you were a preteen?
I was little bitty and that's been squashed since then.
Okay. So what's squashed?
Like there's no issues with that.
Okay, so he doesn't do it anymore?
It happened one time. He's been married. He's got 3 girls, raised them all by himself, he's got full custody.
And so you would, but you haven't seen him for a while, correct?
Right.
So you wouldn't have a problem with the judge permanently enjoining John Davis from being around your little girls, correct?
Correct.
All right. So let's talk about Matthew Hatfield. Who is that?
My cousin.
Okay, so let's talk about Matthew Hatfield. How often does he come around?
Never. I don't
Okay,
ever see him.
so you wouldn't have a problem with agreeing to a permanent injunction for him coming around, correct?
Correct.
And he has domestic violence convictions, isn't that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and assault convictions, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how are you with regard to being a mother? Do you care for the girls and feed the girls? And
Yes, we have a really good schedule. We wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Then they eat lunch between 12, 1-ish. They take a nap around 10:30. We go outside, we play. Kaylin does her schoolwork after they come back in. And they get their baths between 6 and 7. They eat dinner and they're in bed by 8:30.
okay. So has there ever been any time that they've gone without food when in your care?
Not in mine, but Cameron's.
Okay, so you always feed them. They're never hungry.
Right.
How about them being clean?
I give them a bath every night.
Okay. How about your Chloe? Who's Chloe?
My dog.
Okay, so didn't Chloe almost die from lack of water?
Yes,
Okay, so why didn't you give the dog water?
I did. She kept knocking her bowl over as I was going to work. I fed her and watered her every day before I left, and she would knock her bowls over.
Okay, but she almost died, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't get a bowl that could be weighted down so this dog would have water during the day. Is that correct?
Objection, relevance.
Judge, she can't take care of a dog, much less girls.
Unbelievable, Lana. Wow.
I'm going to sustain. Let's leave the dog alone,
Okay,
unless you can show relevance in another attempt.
do you smoke marijuana or do drugs?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you would agree that to take a 10-panel hair follicle today?
So I'd have to take another one. Yes.
Okay. So Judge, we would ask that you sign an order to that effect. She's agreed to it. Have you ever dropped food on the floor of the playpen for the girls to pick up? Just thrown it in there like they're dogs?
No, it was a game to have I didn't pick up the food and throw it in there. It was to get her moving around.
Oh, so was it a game or you didn't throw the food in there for her to get it? Which one?
It was one by one. I would throw them in there one at a time, and she'd run and grab it, and she'd run and grab the other one. It wasn't like I picked up food and I threw it in the playpen, like, here you go, here's your food for the day.
Well, what were you throwing in there?
They were little, like the cereal puffs. They were snacks.
So aren't those tiny?
They're like,
Okay. And who were you playing the game with?
Aniston,
Okay. And how old was Aniston at the time?
maybe 1.
And isn't it true that you were taking pregnancy tests when you and Cameron weren't even having sex? Is that correct?
Correct.
And why would you take pregnancy tests if you're not having sex with your husband?
Because my periods are very irregular, and I have one maybe once to 2 times a year, and I take them because if they show up positive, that means that there could be something else wrong, like in my body, and I need to go get checked out.
Okay, but it's not that you're checking for pregnancy.
Correct.
You're checking out your medical or health conditions is with a pregnancy test, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what are those type of, what would a pregnancy test show with regard to what's wrong with your body besides being pregnant?
Because if it comes up with a false positive, it means something else could be wrong.
Okay, like what?
I don't know. That's why I would go to the doctor and find out.
Okay, so,
And the doctor also, I went to my OBGYN and they told me to go every so often and take the test.
but
So I
these
take
are
them, I take them once a month.
okay, so, but these are pregnancy tests at home, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you also go to the doctor for pregnancy tests?
No. I just take them at home.
Okay, and you're just, all right. And that is to check your medical conditions, right? That's not related to pregnancy.
Right.
Okay. And isn't it true that you've stayed out till 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever, and let Mr. Wright take care of the girls?
Yes.
And why is that? What were you doing?
I had Christmas party,
Okay. What kind of Christmas party?
a work Christmas party.
Was this with your customers?
No, it was with work. The girls at work.
All right. Was it sex industry work or what kind of work?
I was working at the car dealership.
Okay. And you came home at what time?
I don't know.
Well, I asked you if you came home at 3.
If it was 3, then it was 3.
Okay. But late.
It was late. Yes.
Early in the morning. And what were you doing during that time?
I was at a Christmas party.
Okay, you were drinking, correct?
I had maybe 1 margarita.
So you weren't drunk when you drove home.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And let's talk about your stepfather. What's his name?
Randy
Randy what?
Hatfield.
And they like to drink, he likes to drink, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay. And you've seen the petitioners one, which are photographs of Randy Hatfield and Lisa Hatfield, correct?
Correct.
And who are those people?
My mom and dad.
Okay. So, and you testified that they like to drink. Did you see all the pictures?
I did.
Okay. So, and these pictures are from where?
They're from family reunions, weddings, Christmas, and then 2 of them in my parents' yard. They were all celebrations that were on the span of from 2004 to 2020.
Okay. So,
2020.
and these were on social media. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So, in all these photographs of Mr. and Miss Hatfield drinking were true and correct copies, correct? To the photo.
Object, she has no personal knowledge of that. She's not the author of these photos. The predicate cannot be met through her.
Did you take any of these photos?
No.
Okay, you didn't take any of the photos.
Mm-mm.
But what is your testimony with regard to the drinking habits of Mr. and Miss Hatfield, your parents?
I mean, what are you asking?
They get drunk, right?
No.
And they get drunk around your daughters, correct?
No.
And then when they're drunk and you drink with them, correct?
Yes, after the kids go to sleep.
Okay, only when the kids go to sleep. You wouldn't drink to excess before that, right?
Correct.
And so if something happened in the house and the house caught on fire or something, that you and your parents would be drunk, correct?
No.
And unable to help your daughter, right?
No.
All right. Did you see petitioners 2 where your daughter was in the bathtub?
Yes.
Who is that?
That's Aniston.
Okay, so who took that picture?
I did. I was giving her a bath.
Okay, and when was that picture? What is it? When is it from?
The end of December, around 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, and so you are bathing Aniston at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, she had went to sleep earlier that night and ended up waking up around 1. So I ran her a warm bath with some lavender in it. That way she could go back to sleep. And then right after she was out, she went right back to sleep.
Is she crying in that photo?
Yes,
Okay, why is she crying?
because she heard I was on the phone with her daddy and wanted to say hi. And Cameron hung up instead of telling her hi while she was in the bathtub.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry. It was 1 o'clock in the morning.
all right.
Try not to interject, Mr. Wright. Wait till it's your turn.
And so there's nothing that's been altered by that picture that you took, correct?
Correct.
All right, and so and did you see the two pictures of the toes and the baby? And P2?
Hang on, we're getting there.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so what are those? What are the,
Okay. Aniston had gotten a hair tourniquet on her toes and I had pulled the hair off. And to ensure that all the hair was off, I took her to the ER and they had to slice her toes to make sure that all the hair was off. And you can see in the pictures that those pictures were taken in the emergency room.
all right, because there is a, someone's got a hospital.
That's me. Yes, they put it on my wrist.
Okay, so when was this?
2018.
Okay, and this is Aniston?
Yes,
And how old is she at the time?
a couple months,
And
maybe a
so-
month or two.
Okay, and so you described the injuries causing this to the Aniston's toes as a hair tourniquet. Is that correct?
Yes.
How did Aniston get a hair tourniquet around her feet?
And my hair was long. It could have fallen off, wrapped around her toe. I mean, it could have even been around just one toe, but they cut off 5 of them to make sure that it was all the way off.
Okay, so, but it would have to be on there for quite a while in order to cause these kind of injuries, correct?
No, ma'am, the injuries weren't caused by the hair. They had to slice her toes to make sure it was off.
They sliced her toes as opposed to just cut the hair.
They had to make sure it was off.
So when you say they had to cut her toes in order to make sure the hair was off, or you're saying that the hair was so embedded into the child's toes that they had to remove it surgically?
False.
I'm just asking what happened. Why did they have to cut into this little baby's toes?
And object, my client is not a doctor. She's not a medical expert. If Ms. Shadwood wants to know why the medical process was, she can subpoena the doctor.
Overruled.
What did the doctor tell you with regard to cutting into this little baby's toes?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
Do you know?
They told me that this happens more often than they think, or than like us normal people think.
Objection, non-responsive.
She asked specifically what the doctor told her. She may not like the answer, but she gets to answer.
About why he had to cut into your daughter's toes. Was the hair embedded in the toes?
Lana, if you want to hear what the doctor said from my client, let my client answer. If you want to know it directly from the doctor, subpoena the doctor, but don't ask her a question and then shut her off because you don't like the answer.
Judge, I
Okay.
would object to.
Yeah. Calm down. No verbal sparring between counsel. You spar to me. Let's go to the question, deal with the question.
Okay.
Miss Wright, just answer the question. What did the doctor tell you about the cause of the injury? Not how
They
frequent it is.
Oh, they said that they didn't really say anything other than there was a hair on her toes. They said I actually ended up getting it all off because when they sliced into her toes that nothing came off, that I actually was able to get it all off at home.
But the doctor decided to slice the baby's flesh and anyway.
To ensure that it was all off. Yes, ma'am, because she could have very easily lost a toe
Okay.
if it was still on there.
Okay. So did you see the picture of the baby in the, what do you call those round things? Little carrier, but it was out in the backyard. It's a little-
Yes,
what's that called?
a bouncer.
A bouncer. That's right. Okay. So what child was that?
That was Aniston.
Okay. So Aniston was how old at the time?
A couple months.
All right. And so,
June 2019. So
do you remember?
like 9 months.
Okay. And it was in June 30th, 2019, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, did you leave her outside crying
No,
in the dark?
no,
Isn't it true though? Mr. Wright confronted you and said, how can you leave the baby outside in the bouncer alone?
no.
Okay. And did you see the GPS where it showed you and a track of Randy and Lisa Hatfield's house? We're still in petitioners 2. Did you see
Yes,
that? At the time, weren't your parents drunk and passed out in bed
no,
and the house wasn't safe?
no.
And this was at the time she was in her bouncer, is that correct?
She was in the bouncer, but that's not correct.
Okay. Judge, I would offer petitioners 2.
Judge, we're going to have to break it down a little bit. As to the pictures 1, 2, and 3, based on the testimony, I have no objection. As we're looking at the bouncer and we're trying to get in GPS coordinates and things of that nature, not to mention the handwritten notes on the document, unless they're being proffered as a summary of future testimony. Furthermore, there's an additional set of pictures attached to this to which we've got no testimony on. So it's going to have to be broken up in a way that I can make proper objections throughout the pictures. I can tell you I have no objection to the first, second, and third picture. Those would be the child in the bath and the 2 toe pictures. I have an objection as to hearsay with some of the relevant information being proffered per the GPS and the date attached to that, as well as the notations made on the side of those pictures. And obviously, I have a objection to the last set of pictures, given that we've had no testimony.
I'll carry the offer over till I hear further testimony about it.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
I think it might be a convenient time here to let everybody have a short break.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be out for approximately 5 minutes, no
All right,
less,
thank
no less than 5.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Miss Miss Shadwick, turn off your mute, please.
Yes, sir.
So, council, let's talk some more about planning. We find ourselves right at 11 o'clock here. And we haven't finished with petitioner's first witness. And I anticipate, unless I make another order about the order of things, we're going to go straight to more testimony from her. Bottom line is, it's looking more and more reasonable for us to think about resuming this on Monday morning, since you've got your other court case this afternoon. And, you know, I've got the power to say, no, we're going to stay here and finish this, and sorry about your other case, but I'm not sure that's reasonable under the circumstances.
I think Ms. Shadwick's client in the other case, I agree with her. I think that her client in the other case needs her day in court.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So what if we resumed here in a moment, but quit in 30 minutes and then picked up at a time to be agreed on Monday morning?
Can I offer one alteration to that, Judge?
Sure.
And the only reason I do this is because sometimes it's hard. I completely agree with you, Judge, that you could probably pick right back up on Monday morning. It's easier for me at times when I'm doing these to end at a particular exchange of a witness. So for example, if Ms. Shadwick has 15 more minutes of direct examination of my client, ended at that juncture as opposed to a time frame, because then I can notate in my notes, pick up on my direct of my client, because most likely strategically that's what I'll do. I'll use that opportunity to go ahead and get my direct out, as opposed to just a simple time stamp where wherever we are at that 30-minute mark, we end there. That would be my only requested alteration.
Well, what if she has not finished with her direct of your client?
And that's fine. I was just saying, if she has, I guess the change would be if she finishes in under 30 minutes, we would end it there, as opposed to me asking 5 minutes worth of questions and then having to go back and re-litigate that portion.
Okay.
Well, I believe I will be finished within 30 minutes, Judge, with Miss Wright.
Well, his request is to not be forced to start for 7 minutes and then quit.
Correct.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
correct.
And that's reasonable.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to stop no later than 11:20.
Judge, can I have about 30 seconds? My law partner just walked in. I need to answer a question for him. If everybody can give me about 30 seconds.
Yes, indeed.
No
Thank
problem.
you. I appreciate it, everybody. My apologies.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your witness, Ms. Shadwick.
Yes, sir. Okay, so Miss Wright, you looked at the text messages with your boyfriend, correct? Caleb, petitioner 6. Did you look at those?
I looked at the messages, yes.
Okay, and those are text messages with who?
A previous customer,
Okay, and so that customer's name is,
Caleb,
and what's his last name?
bro,
How do you spell his last name?
Breaux.
Okay, and what is the 409-221-2108 number?
His phone number.
Okay, and you said you looked at P6, correct?
Yes,
All right, so these are text messages between you and Caleb. Is that right?
yes,
And have they been altered or photoshopped in any way?
no,
Okay. And they're true and accurate depictions of the text messages, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. Judge, I had moved for the admission of P6.
Sorry, Judge, can we get a time frame on these text messages? There's no date indications within the text. There's been no testimony as to when these text messages were made.
Okay. Miss Wright, when were these text messages made? Just a month and a year.
December
Okay.
2021.
Okay, December 2021. Do you remember what the exact date was?
The 12th.
Okay. All right. I'd move for the admission of petitioner 6, Judge.
No objection.
Admitted.
All right. Did you see the petitioner 7? It's a Facebook page that says Ashley Wright. And it shows one of your friends, Caleb Breaux. I don't know how to pronounce that, but Breaux. Is that correct?
Yes,
Is that your Facebook page?
I don't have Facebook any longer. But
Okay,
yes,
but
it was my Facebook.
all right, there's no question that was your Facebook at the time. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it hasn't been changed in any way. It's an accurate and true depiction of what your Facebook was at that time.
Yes,
And when did you have Facebook?
last month.
Okay, it is, you just had it for a month or you took it down last
No,
month?
I took it down.
Okay, is that on advice of counsel?
No,
Tell you to take it down?
no,
Why'd you take it down?
because I was tired of the messages from Cameron. So I took it down because I wasn't going to be verbally abused any longer.
Okay, so but it shows that Caleb is your is a friend, a Facebook friend, right?
Right.
Okay, Judge, I'd ask that P7 be admitted.
No objection.
Admitted.
Okay, so let's go back to the OnlyFans account that you wanted to open to make some money. So with regard to the foot fetish groups, how much money can be made on that?
I don't know. I didn't look into it.
Okay. What do you mean you didn't look into it?
I didn't look to see how much money you could make. I mean, it was a thought. I made the account. Nothing was posted.
Okay, so when were you going to post something?
Probably never.
Okay,
It was a thought.
all right, was a thought, but probably never.
Right.
Okay, so when you say you were going to post something, we're going to post live, do something live, like we are right now. This is live.
Oh, no,
If I showed you my foot, it would be live. It'd be
no,
right?
right.
So
So no.
you are just going to put up photos of your feet, right?
Judge, I'm going to object. We've gone through this. This is the second version now. She's answered these questions more than once. And that
I'm
particular
getting-
question that was just asked has been answered 3 times.
I'm going to get there, Judge, about and relate it to where the girls are at the time when she planned to do this.
I overrule.
Okay, so with this, just a thought, OnlyFans account, were you going to do this when your little girls were in the building at the time or in the house at the time?
Would it matter? It's pictures of my feet.
Okay,
So
I don't
no.
know that.
I mean, yeah, they would be there. It's pictures of my feet.
Okay, so, but it could be pictures of other things too, and they could walk into the room, correct?
No,
They couldn't walk in the room.
you asked 2 questions. Which question am I answering?
Okay, could the girls walk in the room while you're on your OnlyFans account making money?
Yes.
Okay, so they couldn't walk in the room, but now they can walk in the room.
Judge, I'm going to have to object again. We're talking about nothing but speculation here. She's testified that this account was made, but no intention was ever had to do anything with it. It's like opening up an email account and never sending an email. All of this is irrelevant. She opened an account. She's testified, I opened an account. I never had the intentions of doing anything with it. I closed the account. That's the beginning, middle, and end of OnlyFans.
She also testified, Judge, that the girls could walk in. Men predators online could see those little girls walk in, and it's a danger to these girls.
So I overrule the objection.
Okay, so if the girls could walk in and you were live on OnlyFans,
I never intended to.
it would be open to the audience that were paying, correct?
No, because I wouldn't be on live.
Okay, so how would you do it?
You literally just snap pictures of your feet,
And
which
they
has
pay-
nothing to do or harm the kids. I'm snapping a
Okay.
picture of my toes
All right.
if I was to do it, but I didn't have any intentions of starting up.
Okay, so you would be fully clothed at the time?
It would be a picture of my foot. So unless I had a sock on, then yes.
So would the rest of you be fully clothed?
Objection, relevance.
It's a picture of a foot.
Let me deal with the objection first. I have to overrule.
All right, so you claim that you were just taking pictures of your feet. And your counsel objected that it's irrelevant, but did you have any clothes on?
I'm going to object now because you're misrepresenting the testimony. She's never taken a picture of her feet. She didn't do anything with this, and she's testified to that a half a dozen times. You're now asking her a direct question as though when you took a picture. Linda, there's
Okay.
no testimony that she's taken a picture.
I can rephrase.
Please, Susan.
Would you be fully clothed at the time
Yes.
in your robe?
Objection, this is all speculative.
Judge, I pass the witness. And
As you wish. So here we are at 11:03. What's your pleasure, Mr. Andreas?
Judge, I would prefer, if you're asking my opinion as to when I would start, if we know we're coming back Monday, it would be my preference to start Monday.
Fair enough. Suits the parties in the-
Judge, you're freezing up on my end really bad and your sound just went away.
yes, sir.
How about now?
It's
I
fine.
think you're clear now.
My statement to you was, I'm open to y'all making an agreement about when we start. I can start at any time that's convenient to the rest of you, including your witnesses.
Will 1 o'clock work, Dustin?
Hold on just a second. I've got
I was
We're-
talking about, I was talking about the morning because I'm afraid it's going to take us.
So my day was consumed with a misdemeanor trial that has now been gone away. So my entire day is free. I think, hang on, Nick, what is this?
You have an entry for third.
In person?
No, it's Zoom.
Okay, I have an entry in
Angelina.
Angelina County via Zoom at 4:30. So I would prefer to start at that 8:30, 9 a.m. time frame. If that's good with everybody, that would give us the bulk of the day.
Fine, Judge, whatever you would like to do. 2 witnesses, I think.
Let's begin at 9 o'clock.
No, block out the day.
If that inconveniences any of you or your witnesses, I can move it a little later, but you know, there's no time like the present, so to speak, and I hate to squander or fail to use some part of that day. I'd certainly like to conclude by tomorrow. I mean, by Monday.
Yes, sir. I can't imagine we can't have it done by 4 o'clock on Monday.
Yes, sir. We can. Yeah.
I'm going to, well, let me think about this a minute. We have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We resume on Monday. And we have, actually we have the rest of today, and then we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The petitioner has asserted that he hasn't been able to see his children. Is there something we can do while we're all together here to arrange some visitation under some circumstances between now and Monday?
Judge, if we could have a Band-Aid order that my client get the children either today or tomorrow through Monday morning. Miss Wright is in town. She's in Livingston right now. She's sitting there. I'm not sure where the children are, but they could be brought. She could pick them up then.
And Judge, speaking on behalf of my client, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to correct me if I say something wrong. But in the beginning of this case, 2 TROs were filed, and her concerns were listed in her TRO as Mr. Wright's were listed in his. I have explained to her that she's mom and he's dad, and nothing is ever going to change that. Now, we're all asking for something completely different here. My client has approached this court seeking joint managing conservatorship with a visitation order. So I can't in good faith now say that we're not seeking visitation. The thing that concerns us the most, if the court is going to issue a Band-Aid order to establish visitation, I can't in good faith tell you that that's not what needs to happen. The alcohol portion of this is a major concern for us. And obviously we have not had the opportunity today to put on our evidence to that effect. So I'm relying specifically on the affidavit of the TRO that was filed and the issues that were presented there. If the court would like to inquire as to Miss Wright, the location of the children now and the ability to transition them or exchange them, that's fine. But I'm going to further argue that we do have severe concerns about alcohol consumption on behalf of the father.
Am I allowed to make a statement?
Where are the children, Ms. Wright?
They're with my grandma currently,
I don't know where that is.
and that's in Schulenburg, Texas.
In Schulenburg,
Yes,
and you are in Livingston?
yes.
meet halfway on Friday. Let him have Saturday and Sunday. Does he have access to it? So I could get that to work. Okay with that?
So do you have access to some form of video chat technology, either by Facebook or Duo or FaceTime?
I have FaceTime and I could do Duo.
Does Mr. Wright have FaceTime as well? Mr. Wright, that's a question to
I-
you.
Yes, sir. I can get it.
Well,
And Judge,
Yeah,
we also agree to no alcohol consumption.
I know you'll agree. We've also got the issue of distance and bad weather coming up.
And Judge, I'm not using this as an argument, but I think it's a relevant issue that needs to be at least explored. My client's informed me that she's not sure Mr. Wright has a vehicle. Now, I'm sure he has access to a vehicle, but I think that's worth at least saying, because she told me that. It's the first I've heard of that, but I think it's relevant to the issue at hand.
About that, Mr. Wright, do you have a car that you can use?
Yes. Yes, sir, I do.
Judge, if he could go to her or like a sheriff's department in town and then go to a McDonald's or something, could you do that, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, is there I don't want to involve a sheriff's department if it's at all
Yes.
possible. No reason to traumatize these kids by involving law enforcement. Ms. Wright, this is a question for you. Is there a place like a McDonald's that might have a playground or something inside or out there in Schulenburg?
Not in Schulenburg, no.
Okay, can you suggest a place where it might be a convenient place for you to take the children and be present during a visit so that you can monitor what's going on for a couple of hours on either Saturday or Sunday?
Mm,
Where's Weimar?
Weimar,
Weimer.
How far?
Weimar is like 7 minutes away from Schulenburg.
Okay, there's a McDonald's at 722 South Eagle Street, Weimar, Texas, 78962.
I mean, a McDonald's would be okay. I mean, there's one, I think in Weimar and Columbus or LaGrange.
And this has come up a lot. I just want to remind everybody that for about the past 2 years, the only thing that's in existence at most McDonald's is the tables to sit at, and that's questionable sometimes. Those playpens have been shut down since the word COVID was first introduced. So wherever they go, if it is a McDonald's, they're going to be standing there. So I just want to put
Okay.
that out there before y'all get in that position.
Mr. Andrews has a toddler. So it's been a while for me, Judge. So is there any park?
There's Walters Park in Schulenburg.
Okay, so Walters Park. Okay.
Somebody go on their phone and find out what the best weather day is.
Okay.
That won't take me but just a second. If I know how to spell Schulenburg.
Yeah, I know. It keeps correcting it for me. Okay, so it is going to be
Sunday,
raining, but yeah, no, Saturday and Sunday,
Saturday.
like it's okay. Cold Saturday, 45 to 20 and 25 low. Sunday, 54 to 24, but sunny. No rain. And Friday, 37 to 21, partly cloudy.
Okay, so did I hear Sunday sounds like the best weather day?
54. Yes, sir.
And sunny.
Yes, sir. And Walters Park, WOL.
WAL.
WOL.
AL.
Okay, well, I'm looking at something, but maybe it's spelled wrong, but okay. On 1103 Bowman Avenue, is that correct?
That sounds right.
Okay, so they're spelling it WOLTERS Park at
No, maybe it is.
1103 BOHLMANN Avenue, Schulenburg, 78956.
Ms. Shadwell, we can probably just ask the parties if they know where this place is. They've got ties to that place. I think both have lived in the area. So as long as they both know where we're going, I think we ought to be safe.
Okay.
Okay, so what time of day, Mr. Wright, for a 2-hour visit? When would you like to start it?
Noon would be good.
Ms. Wright, do you have any objection to that?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a way to make this flexible enough because who knows what the conditions are going to be at the park. Who knows exactly what you're going to have access to as far as an indoor option. Some of those fast food restaurants do have their inside dining area open. So let me try this. First of all, a brief lecture. Try to keep in mind that you're going to come back to see me on Monday. And if anybody isn't cordial, if anybody does something that is not very civil, not appropriate, either in the presence of the girls or not, you can be sure that that's going to come back to hit you on Monday. So be careful. And more important than that, try to remember that if you get this divorce and I wind up ordering some visitation plan, then you're going to have to live with each other, so to speak, through the children for a long, long time still. And because you've both filed the papers that you have, I'm going to assume that both of you care about the welfare of these girls. And your instincts will tell you whether you're hurting them by something that you say or do. Don't curse, don't raise your voices, just don't do anything uncivilized during this contact you're going to have. Now, Ms. Wright, you're going to be allowed, if you want to stay in the vicinity, like in your car or off at a picnic table. I don't want this visitation to be supervised to the extent that you're right there elbow to elbow with him. But if it turns out that the two of you can do that together, more power to you. It's probably unrealistic given everything that's happened up to this point, but you're going to be welcome to stay there at the park or the McDonald's, however it breaks down. And y'all are going to have the option to choose one or the other. And that is going to be under your control, Ms. Wright. Somebody's got to have to make the decision. whether it's going to be in a McDonald's or in a park, in this park. 12 to 2, Sunday afternoon.
Judge, could we be specific?
I really don't want either of you trying to video the other or to make a voice recording of each other, because the girls are going to pick up on that and we have no place for that here. Yes, Ms. Shadwick, what?
Yes, Judge. Could we just pick a place and say, let's go to the park unless it's bad weather, and then it'd be McDonald's as opposed to somebody's got to pick a place.
Well, the park is primary, but if the conditions aren't good for the girls, Ms. Wright, rather than canceling the visitation, is going to have the option of moving it someplace else.
I see. Thank you, Judge.
A reasonable place. Because first and foremost, the primary thing is for him to get his 2-hour visitation. And y'all can make it happen. Both of you show good faith, or it's going to come back to hit you in the face.
Judge, if the grandparents are available, may they go?
You took the words out of my mouth. If
Yes, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Wright or either of them wants to go and be a part of the visitation, would that be a problem with you, Ms. Wright?
No.
Okay, so be it. They or either of them can go with you for the visitation. But make sure that they play nice as well.
Yes, sir.
No talking about who do you want to live with, anything like that. Or it'll come back to hurt you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what else can I say or do about this?
I think we're there, Your Honor.
If you want, or your parents want to bring the girls something, that's okay. Just make it reasonable and not the type of thing that anybody could say is intended to influence them in some way.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know where you draw that line. Might be best to be on the safe side, not to even do that. The greatest gift you can give them is a little time and attention.
Yes, sir.
These little girls have got a long way to go. And I know both of you want them to graduate from high school, get education beyond that, and make a solid life for themselves. And the things that you do as adults now are going to decide whether they succeed or fail in large part. Okay. Unfortunately for you, you're probably going to hear another lecture from me about that come Monday afternoon. All right. Thank you all for cooperating so well so far together. And I will see you back on Zoom. I'll send you another link as soon as I can get around to it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
good
sir.
day.
Thank you.